beginning of the 20th century, the world was changing faster than ever before. Industry was expanding, technology was advancing, and nations competed not only on land, but across the oceans. The great shipping companies of the time sought to dominate the transatlantic route, connecting Europe and America with speed, power, and prestige. This was the era of the Gilded Age, a time of vast industrial growth, powerful business empires, and striking contrasts between wealth and poverty. In many ways, one ship would come to embody that world, an extravagant, floating symbol of ambition, inequality, and economic power. Among the competing companies, the White Star Line chose a different path. Rather than building the fastest ships, they envisioned something larger, more imposing, more luxurious than anything the world had ever seen. Their answer would redefine ocean travel itself. This vision became the Olympic class. The ships were constructed by Harland and Wolff, a Belfast-based giant that stood at the heart of the region's economy, employing thousands of workers and driving industrial growth. Today, that same site has been transformed into a place of memory, home to the Titanic Belfast, a landmark that preserves the legacy of these ships. The first vessel, the RMS Olympic, began to take shape in 1908 under the leadership of J. Bruce Ismay, alongside key figures such as William James Peary and Thomas Andrews. Launched in 1910 and entering service in 1911, it quickly became a symbol of modern engineering and luxury. But even before its maiden voyage, a second ship, larger, more refined, was already rising beside it. That ship would be the RMS Titanic. Construction on Titanic began in March 1909, involving more than 15,000 workers. Every detail reflected confidence in human ingenuity. Built with advanced steel methods and divided into 16 watertight compartments, it was widely believed to be practically unsinkable. That confidence influenced decisions, most notably, a reduced number of lifeboats. The White Star Line saw Titanic not only as a triumph of engineering, but as a powerful business venture, offering luxury to the wealthy while transporting thousands of immigrants seeking new lives across the Atlantic. In September 1911, the Olympic suffered a serious collision with the HMS Harland. Though it survived, the incident revealed vulnerabilities and forced the diversion of critical components from Titanic, delaying its completion. Still, the project moved forward. By April 1912, Titanic was ready. The inaugural voyage began on April 10, 1912, departing Southampton. The ship stopped in Cherbourg, France, and then in Queenstown, now Cove, Ireland, before heading into the open Atlantic toward New York. On board were passengers from vastly different worlds, wealthy elites and hopeful immigrants alike. Among them were some of the most influential figures of the era. John Jacob Astor IV, one of the richest men in the world, had built his fortune through New York real estate, including the Waldorf Astoria Hotel, whose legacy continues today through the Waldorf Astoria. Isidor Straus, co-owner of Macy's, represented the rise of large-scale retail in the United States. Benjamin Guggenheim came from a powerful industrial family whose wealth was rooted in mining and refining, an influence that lives on today through institutions like the Solomon R. Guggenheim Foundation. And behind it all stood J.P. Morgan, whose financial empire controlled vast business interests, including the trust that owned the White Star Line. His legacy endures through J.P. Morgan Chase, one of the most powerful financial institutions in the world. For all of them, Titanic was more than transportation. It was a statement of progress. But the journey would not end as expected. On the night of April 14, 1912, the ship entered an area known for ice. Despite multiple warnings, it maintained speed. At 11:40 p.m., an iceberg appeared directly ahead. The response came quickly, but not quickly enough. The collision tore open the hull. 5 compartments flooded, one more than the ship could survive. The impossible was now unfolding. As evacuation began, a harsh reality emerged. There were not enough lifeboats. passengers faced
Women and children
decisions that would
first.
define their
Make your
final
way to the
moments.
lifeboats quickly.
Astor ensured his wife's
Women
safety
and
before
children
staying
only.
behind.
Move quickly
Strauss
to the
and
boat,
his wife
please.
chose to remain together.
Women and children
Guggenheim
first.
prepared himself
Keep
with
order.
dignity.
Keep order.
Others, like Margaret Brown, worked to help and organize survivors.
Right this way,
Far
quickly.
away,
Women
the
and
Olympic
children
received
first.
distress
Move
signals,
along now.
but
Women
was
and
too
children
distant
first.
to help.
Straight into the
At
boat, quickly now.
2:20 a.m.
Careful,
on
steady
April
on the rail
15th,
there, ma'am.
Titanic vanished beneath the ocean. More than 1,500 lives were lost. Rescue came hours later when the RMS Carpathia arrived, saving around 700 survivors from the freezing waters. In the aftermath, investigations in the United States and Britain led to sweeping changes. Enough lifeboats for all, continuous radio monitoring, and international ice patrol systems. Some alternative theories emerged over time, but none were supported by credible evidence. The conclusion remained clear. The disaster resulted from a combination of design limitations, environmental conditions, and human decisions. Decades later, in 1985, the wreck was discovered by oceanographer Robert Ballard, resting nearly 12,600 feet below the North Atlantic, broken, silent, and preserved in time. Meanwhile, the Olympic continued in service for more than 2 decades, becoming the only ship of its class to avoid immediate catastrophe. A third and final vessel would complete the trilogy, the HMHS Britannic. Built as the last of the Olympic-class ships, Britannic followed the same vision of scale, luxury, and engineering ambition. Its construction had already been planned, even before Titanic's fate was known. After the disaster, however, its design incorporated improvements based on lessons learned. As J. Bruce Ismay later confirmed, the company had already been working on this next ship, intending to refine and strengthen what had come before. Even its name reflected continuity. Olympic drew from the gods of Olympus, Titanic from the Titans, and Britannic carried forward that same sense of grandeur, echoing the imperial spirit of its time. Together, these ships, and the people behind them, tell a larger story. A story of ambition, industry, and belief in progress. More than a century later, their legacy still remains. The companies connected to their passengers continue to exist. The shipyards of Belfast have become places of memory. Museums preserve the artifacts and stories of those who lived and those who did not. The Titanic endures not only as a tragedy, but as a powerful reminder. A reminder of ambition, of confidence, and of the moment when humanity believed it had mastered the sea, only to discover that some forces cannot be controlled.
Share your thoughts in the comments.